Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Zano, and this is episode 202 of the world famous University Love podcast, also known as Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today from the very chilly, rainy city of Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, rain in Atlanta is like snow in snow in New York. It's a problem, okay? Man, me and my wife used to want to move to Florida, but we had a big change of heart, and I said maybe we should move further south in Georgia so we can enjoy more warm weather. She's like, I don't think so, pal. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to talk about sabotage, and we're also going to talk about research a little bit. But first, we are going to talk about self sabotage. And at the end of this discussion of self sabotage, I will have the ultimate story about a guy I knew. And he was the classic self sabotage. But I got the idea to talk about this from an article I read by a guy named Nir. I think that's the man's name. Sorry, sir, if we're pronouncing your name wrong, but you'll be okay. At least we are talking about you. And last name is Eyal. Nir Eyal, I believe that is the right pronunciation. Somebody help me with that. But he wrote a book that I read. That is a very good book, Indistractable. And he also wrote another book called Hooked. I haven't read Hooked yet, but I read Indistractable. And Indistractable is about, if you're easily distracted like I used to be, that book will help you out. It has a few tips, has a few tricks that you can use to help you from easily falling into different rabbit holes. Because as you well know, the phone, the TV, the computer, other devices that you use, all these streaming apps, you'll mess around, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll go from watching one episode of The Wire to next thing you know, you watch season 1 of The Wire. You don't want that, especially when you're trying to start a business or anything, whatever you're trying to do, all this, what do they call it? Binge watching. Man, if you're not careful, whew, it can get rough. But anyway, he wrote those books, but he also wrote an article that I read this morning about self-sabotage. And I was like, man, that's very true. And basically what he was talking about was, he was saying how we don't like for people to tell us what to do, including ourselves. So he was saying, if you tell yourself, 9 o'clock today, 9 o'clock tonight, I'm going to write 20 pages of a book. And then you sit down at 9 o'clock. And a lot of times, even I have fell victim to this. 9 o'clock, you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to do something. 9 o'clock comes. Man, I think I got to go to the bathroom. So you go to the restroom. You come back, wash your hands. I got to make sure I wash my hands thoroughly. You come back and go, you know what? I ain't got no snacks. I need snacks. So you go to the refrigerator. You get snacks. You get your juice, your cookies, your chips. And you're like, all right, I'm ready now. And then you look at your phone. And then you're like, oh, what's on Facebook? Who's on Facebook? And then you look down, one video, 2 videos, and you go, man, they always talking on Facebook. Before you know it, it's 9:45, and you're like, I gotta write this. I gotta write this thing. Let me get started. I'm gonna get started. Then you get distracted. Somebody texts you. Bzzz, phone buzzing. You get distracted. And you're like, and before you know it, it's like 10:15. And then you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna start tomorrow. People, that is self-sabotage. That is you. Now you have all the intentions in the world. So don't beat yourself up. You have every intention in the world, because I've done this plenty of times. You have every intention of doing something, but it just doesn't happen. And is it your fault? Yes, but you don't really know that you are self-sabotaging yourself. Sometimes we all want to be, well, first off, I'll say this, and I'll say this 1,000 times. We are already great, you and I, You're born into this world, you're already great, But you want to do great things in the world. You want to produce things great for the world, to the world, in the world. You know what I mean? So sometimes you get distracted. Sometimes you get, sometimes you just sort of the shoot yourself in the foot thing. You know what I mean? So we distract ourselves. We sabotage ourselves. And we don't. Sometimes you don't even know it. Sometimes you're doing it on purpose. Sometimes you do not know you're doing it on purpose. So what this article, which I will leave the article in the show notes, and the big takeaway from the article, which I have pulled up, ladies and gentlemen, for you, I do research. The one thing that he says, he says, to disarm psychological reactants, you need to change the way you talk to yourself. Instead of thinking you have to do something, tell yourself you get to do it. Now you can apply that how you want to, but you definitely have to change. You don't want to think about, it's like when you're starting out, when you do these, you do these podcasts, you do YouTube videos, you do whatever you want to do, whatever you do. Don't think about it like it's a job. Don't look at it as work. Don't think about it like that. This is fun. You know what I mean? Like, I get up every day and I'm like, podcast time. This is enjoyable. This is an enjoyable experience. And it's becoming more enjoyable as more people listen. But no, if nobody listened, I would still enjoy it because it's something that I want to do. I get to do it. I don't have to do it. I get to do it. And that's the mentality that I need to take from a lot of different aspects of my life. And that's something that you could take into your life as well. Don't think about it as a chore. Don't think about it as a task. Just be like, hey, I get to do it. I'm here. I get to do it. I get to have fun with it. So, I will leave the article in the show notes so that way you can read it for yourself. It's a quick read. It's 4 minutes and it's very good. So check that out. But I will tell you the ultimate self-sabotage story. Now, I have a friend. We will call him Billy, Billy boy. My friend Billy, we started hanging out. Well, we're not friends anymore, I would say, but for the longest time, we were besties. So we started hanging out in junior high, and Billy he was a good guy, like he was a great guy, but he had this thing. If anytime he would get some kind of happiness in his life, he would just find some way to just wreck it, just tear it apart. You can't, to this day, I don't understand it. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you this story. So Billy, it used to be me, Billy, and this girl, and we'll say her name was Lisa. And so we used to all hang out. Me, Billy, and Lisa. We all hung out. We was buddies. She had a basketball in her backyard, a basketball goal in her backyard. And we used to go over there and play basketball. We would laugh, we would talk, we have a good time, but one thing about it, Billy was in love with Lisa, so he was very much, he would say every day, he would tell me, he said, oh man, one day she's gonna be my wife. She's gonna be my wife, man. I'm like, really? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yes. What you don't understand? And I'm like, I guess. I guess. And he was persistent. So every day for like junior high up into high school, he was persistent. He was like, come on, Lisa, just give me a shot. And she'd be like, nope. So let's fast forward 5-6 years later. We are I think we are out of school by now. Yes, we are out of school. The summer, before I went off to the military. So we are sitting around, and one day Lisa, she says to me, she says, you know what? She said, don't tell him, but she said, I got a crush on him now. I like him. She's like, I think I want to date him. And I was like, holy I'm like, what? Where did this come from? She's like, I just don't know. She's like, I'm attracted to him now. And I'm like, this is kind of bananas, but okay. So he kept coming over there, and then you know you could tell that things were changing because she got real nice to him, and she was like, you want to come in, you want some juice, come to my parents' house, get some juice, and before that she'd be like, you better drink water out that hose back there, homeboy. But finally she was like, you want some juice, this, that, and the other, and he's like, I think she likes me, man. And I was like, well, I don't want to say nothing, but she did say she likes you a little more now. He's like, what? He's like, I got a chance. And I'm like, yeah, got a chance, pal. I was like, but she thinks you still dating that girl you was with. And he's like, I ain't with her no more. So he had a girlfriend, we'll call her Medusa. No, but he did have a girlfriend he was dating, and she was kind of a pain, but whatever. She wasn't a pleasant lady, to say the least. But he said he broke up with her, and so him and old Lisa, they started getting close. And I remember he started coming to my house at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it got very annoying for a couple weeks there. He would come over and he was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do today. And I'm like, why are you at my house, sir, at 7 o'clock in the morning? And he said, I gotta get the day started, pal. I got things to do. And I'm like, man, you are out here right now. He's like, I'm just a man in love. And I said, okay, I see that. And so, you know, for a couple weeks there, they would walk. They would walk down the street together. It was all niceties, and he was like, I like her, blah 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 blah. He was like, man, she kissed me, we kissed, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, that's nice, man. That's great, man. And I remember she was like, I really like him, but I still think he dating that girl. She said, I just got a feeling. And I'm like, I don't think so. I said, he too much always talking about you. And she said, I don't trust him. And I was like, man, that's a shame. And then, of course, we'll say like maybe a month later, they had started dating, and things were going nice. And of course, I remember I was driving. I had to go pick my brother up. I had to go pick my brother at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I left my house. I wanted to stop because, I grew up in the country. So I wanted to stop. I stopped at the vending machine to get a 25-cent drink. This is 1997, everybody, okay? Stopped to get me a Welch's fruit punch, which I loved back in them days. And I stopped and got me one. And then I was driving. I was going to get on Main Street because I had to go pick my brother up. He worked 15 miles down the road. Go to get my brother, and who do I see? I see old Billy Bats, walking down the street with Medusa, and I go, "What the H is going on?" I said, "Ah, man, look at this fool!" And he didn't see me, but I saw him. And then the next day, he came to my house at 7 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Ah, you're double dipping, huh?" And he said, "What?" And I said, "Man, you are double dipping." I said, the girl Lisa, she said she says she don't trust you. She say she feel like you with that girl still. And then last night I'm driving down the road and I saw you. I seen you. And he said, you didn't see me. I said, oh. And then I described his clothes to him, and he said, mother. And I said, what you doing? I thought you was all so in love. And he's like, man, that girl don't want to. He said, man, Lisa don't want to be with me, man. Lisa just playing around, man. She don't want to be serious. I'm like, how she don't want to be serious, man? She already said that she wanted to be serious, but you not trying to be. And he's like, man, I ain't gonna. He said, man, I'll be all right, man. I ain't gonna get caught, man. Until she show me she's serious, man. I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do, man. Plus, she not giving me no, relations. So what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, oh man, you ever heard of waiting? He's like, waiting. It's like I ain't waiting. And I'm like, oh boy. So of course, as you well know, my friend, he loves the self sabotage, and it all blew up in his face. And Lisa said, "Man, don't talk to me no more, man. Get out of my face. Get the hell on." And of course, it all didn't work out. He lost Lisa. Medusa went away. It just all went bad, and he was like, "Oh well, it wasn't gonna work anyway." I'm like, man, anytime you get close to the pinnacle or something, you just sort of blow it. Because he's the same one. my friend had a full scholarship to college to play football. And then when it was time for him to go off to college, he was like, I don't know, man. I just don't see it, man. I don't think it's gonna work out. And that was it. And he never played football. And I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me, So I know your self sabotage is not that serious, but for him, he was one of the more. I mean, it's sad. I pray for the guy every day, but I hope he's out there doing all right. But it's just some people, self sabotages. For some, it's just like, all right, I should write 10 pages, and you might get 2 pages done. That's okay, but for others, it's a real problem. You know what I mean? So you just have to be careful. You just have to watch it. Sometimes you just have to know yourself, and sort of figure things out. See your strong points, see your weak points, and take it from there. But don't worry, everybody. We're gonna end this show on we're gonna end this show on a more positive note than self sabotage. We are going to talk about research now. Now, when you first want to do, whatever you want to do, you want to write, you want to do YouTube videos, you want to do podcasts. At first, you don't really think about research. You just sort of get out there and start doing it. Start swinging. Sort of. You kind of like, do this by the hip. But as you get better with things, and as time goes on, and as you want to get serious about what you are doing, you definitely want to start doing more and more research. You want to get into, different names. You want to make sure that you have evidence. You want to make sure that you have facts. You want to make sure that you have things tight when it comes to your information, because people nowadays, they can easily look up stuff, and you don't want to just be out here just lying and making up stuff, making up numbers as you go. You want to do a little research. Now it's not that hard to do research, but it's just kind of a menial task. Some people like to do research, some people do not. And the further along you go, and the more success you might get in your business, you can just have somebody do research. You can just pay somebody to do the research. It's like being, if you want to write and you writing about a business, if you write a book about business, and you want somebody to look up an article from Forbes back in 2001, you could pay somebody for that kind of research. You could pay them for the information. They can send it to you, and then you can put it in the book how you want to put it. Of course, as you well know, you want to credit people when you use the information. You want to credit books, credit different, people that said this, people that said that. Don't try to sit here and pretend like you thought of all this yourself. But it's all right to give credit to people, but you definitely, the further along you go, the more the research you want to do, and the more you want to be precise with your with your facts, with your the things you want to talk about, because the bigger the audience you get, the more people you will run into, the more the more chances and actually, you don't want to be held, you don't want to be out here giving information, because people love to take people to court. I'm not trying to scare you or nothing like that, but you don't want to start saying too much craziness, because people will be like, "Oh, that guy, he lied to me. I'm gonna sue," and you don't want to get tied up into a whole bunch of illegal mumbo jumbo shenanigans. So do your research, make sure you fact check. Everybody is not Donald Trump. You can't just say what you want to say and get away with it. Okay, only Trump can do that. The rest of us, ladies and gentlemen, are not Trump. We don't have the charm of Mr. Donald J. Trump. So for you and I, be careful of quotes and things of that nature. Don't be out here quoting Frederick Douglass and claiming that you said it. Okay, the family of Frederick Douglass will probably come after you. So watch yourself. And you can get away with stuff when you You can get away with things when you're small time, but the bigger you get, the bigger your audience gets. Definitely watch yourself, right? But just do your research. Research is now one thing I will tell you about doing research. You have to be careful because you can't get distracted while you're doing research. Okay. I remember one day I was going to do a I'll be honest with you. One day I was going to do this podcast episode, and I forget what it was about, but I was doing some real research, And man, before I knew it, it was like an hour later. I was like, man, I watched all these videos, and I ain't wrote nothing down. I got more into the I got more into the watching the videos than I did writing the stuff down. I'm like, oh Lord. But you know, I learned a lesson that day. I gotta remember, research for the show, not research just to be, doing whatever. But anyway, just be careful about that research, all right? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode. Episode 202 is in the books. And by the way, how's your weekend going? Before we go, how's your weekend going? Have you got your significant other a gift yet? Ladies and gentlemen, I got my wife she said, now I listened to my wife. She said that she wanted body spray. So I went and got her some body spray. And I also plan on making her breakfast. I thought about this today while I was at the store. I was like, you know what? I should make her pancakes because I know she likes pancakes. I'm not a pancake fan myself, but I'm gonna go real cheesy with it, and I'm gonna buy the little heart shaped things and make her some pancakes. I'm gonna surprise her. So that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I hope you figure something out. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with another hard-hitting episode of Online Marketing Moves. Don't forget, you can always email the show at tony@onlinemarketingmoves.com. Email us, let us know what you think. We can chit chat. You better chit chat now before I get too big time. Because once I get too big time and I'm start hanging out with the likes of Oprah and Gayle King, I'm shunning all of you. All right, just to be upfront and honest. Okay, I ain't gonna know you. I'll be like, who? Be like, I used to listen back when it was the affiliate party. I'll say, be gone, peasant. I'm only kidding, of course, ladies and gentlemen. I will never shun you. But you can always email the show, just to let me know how you're doing, what you're up to, and we can chit chat. I want to hear from you. So that being said, that's going to be it for today. That's it for the podcast. Episode 202 is in the books. But until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk to you later. And as always, everybody, this is for you, Doretha Rizano of Sikeston, Missouri. If you've never been to Sikeston, look it up. But my mother, every time I got off the phone with her, ladies and gentlemen, we have a phrase that we like to say to each other. And it goes like this. I then Ma, I then Pete. Peace.